Okay, Tim actually, just how I got connected with Tim. Tim actually started and created this first spreadsheet a number of years ago when I was looking at it and ran into him and we were talking at a conference and I said, you know, that's really cool. And you know, if we make a couple of tweaks, if we change this, if we do this, we could really kind of update it. And for those that don't know me, I'm a geek. I always have been a geek. I love Excel. I live in Excel. I write an article for NACPA for Excel. So, you know, you can just shoot me. You know, my wife fusses at me because I have everything in a spreadsheet because that's just where I live. So Tim came to me and said, well, hey, would you help me with this and could we take a look at it? So this has really kind of been a collaboration over the years and I'm glad to be able to do it. So what I want to do is talk through the spreadsheet that you have on your thumb drive and kind of go through what we've done and how you can use it. Really, to me, this whole process is a great place to start if you don't have anything involved. If you never have done a capital spreadsheet, you have no idea how much it's going to cost, you have no idea when it's going to need to be replaced. It's also a good tool to use with your boards so that you can take to them, and so instead of saying, hey, I need $10,000 a year to replace X, you can go based on everything that we have. Here's what I need next year. So next year I only need $8,000, but you know what? In 3 years, I've got to have $50,000 because we've got 6 air conditioning units that probably need to be replaced or they're getting to that point. So it's a tool that you can use that takes some of the you're just whining because you want more money when you go to your board to it's based on reality and it's based on facts and it's based on history, so it helps add some credence to the numbers that you're showing. So that's really kind of the whole basis behind it. This is a fairly simple one. As I said, Keith has got the Mac Daddy of them. When he showed his to me a couple of years ago, I'm an Excel guy and I went, wow, I am blown away. That one is impressive. So we'll kind of talk through this and kind of show you how it works. We can update it. The first column is a capital group, and this is just for me kind of a bigger bucket that you want to put some things in. You can name it whatever you want. There actually is a second tab on here that says capital groups, and you can name whatever it is you want, put a description of what it is in a broad sense. This will be used to kind of create some big buckets when we do some reporting that says, I'm going to need X number of dollars in this year for carpeting or for painting or for air conditioning, whatever. So you can create a capital group. Second column is, what is it? And again, you might want to use names, you might want to use room numbers, you can, any kind of description that helps you understand where this is. Could be by building, whatever it is. Next column is the quantity, in this case, this is carpeting, so you've got 1,047 square yards of carpet. Next one is the current value. And if you're starting this from scratch, you can put in there what did you actually pay to put in. If you're down the road, you may just have to play with some numbers if you're looking back something that's 10 or 15 or 20 years. But come up with a value. The years is kind of what's its expected life, or what's the life expectancy. And Tim will talk through some of those on air conditioning and carpeting, how long some of that's going to last. And again, his reference to buying the $3, the dollar-yard carpet at Home Depot is great. It's only going to last 3 years. So sometimes spending, $10 a yard or $20, whatever it is, your long-term payback is going to be substantially better. So you can put it in estimated years. And the rest of these really are calculations that you won't need to do that are already part of the spreadsheet. So this is saying that you spent $70,000 to put in the 1,000 square yards of carpeting for the sanctuary, and in 15 years, you're not going to be spending $70,000. You're going to be spending $110,000 to replace it. So what's it taking into account? It's taking into account an inflation number, which is right up here. Click on that one, there we go. So if I change this to a 2, they're all going to change. So you can look at that and you can talk about what that ought to be and what's the rate of inflation. So if you're doing that $109,000, you're basically going to need $7,300 annually you'll need to start saving $7,300 annually to replace that carpet. So in this case, you put it in January of 1998, and this is telling you that in January of 2013, that's when it's going to have to replace based on your estimates. So what you can do in this case is you can come in and you can start building this. And there are companies that are out there that you can hire to come in and do this for you, but honestly, 90% of this stuff you all can do yourself. You can, take a tape measure and go, this one is 20 feet wide and it's 100 feet long, so here's how many square feet there are. Divided by 9, get the number of yards. On your air conditioning units, every air conditioning unit out there has a plate on it. It tells you when it was manufactured. It won't tell you its life expectancy, but it'll tell you when it was made. It'll tell you the size. It'll tell you the tonnage. So you can do a lot of this yourself and use it as a starting place. So again, you can hire it if you want. If you want to do it yourselves, you can do it yourselves. So what you can do is, in this case, you can go through room by room. In this case, we have carpeting, and then create another section called HVAC. Again, Sanctuary 1, Sanctuary 2, Sanctuary 3 tells you the tons. Again, as you're going through this, you basically fill in the first 4 or 5 columns, and then as we've created this so that there's a summary tab that says, in this case, here are the capital groups that we created. We'll just deal with carpeting for the moment. That in 2011, you're going to need $36,713 to replace your carpeting in 2011. Nothing in 12. $200 and basically $250,000 in 2013, $32,000, then you skip a few years. So you can see how this goes. In this case, I've got this all the way out to 2028. So just in carpeting alone, you're going to need $1.3 million in carpeting to replace it. So again, this spreadsheet, the summary spreadsheet, is driven by all of the numbers that you have here. So again, the whole idea is you put it in, it'll summarize it and kick it over on the last tab and tell you year by year what you're going to need based on what capital groups that you set up. So again, it's a fairly basic one, but it gets a lot of information, and I think for 90% of the churches in America and a lot of the boards that we have to answer to, it's a great tool that you can print out and go, here are the facts. Our air conditioners will have to be replaced. Our carpet will have to be replaced. And here's kind of when we think it's going to be. Now, you may be lucky and you may say your air conditioning unit in your sanctuary is going to last 15 years, and it may only last 10, or you might have one that lasts 20. So again, you've got some flexibility, but at least gives you some data that you can start from and you can work forward to present them some information. So, you may want to go in here annually and look at changing some of these, and as you're replacing carpet, you can go in and update it. So again, this will give you a great sense of how you can do it and a first step to get you going on a process. It does not have to be incredibly complex. You don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring in companies that to do this. You can do a lot of this yourself. So again, I think it's a great tool that you can use and spend some time. Now, if you decide you want to sit down and do this from start to finish in your entire building, and you've got a 150,000 square foot building, you know what? You will kill yourself before you get done. The easiest way to do it is take one room at a time, or one building at a time. Say, you know what, for this summer, we're going to do the children's building, or we're going to do the children's wing. And so you break it down, and you can go in there and start with some basic measurements and figure it out. Don't try and tackle it all at one time. And if you got a 150,000 square foot building, it's going to take you a lot of time, and you're going to get overwhelmed, and you're going to get depressed because you're going to look at the numbers and say that, we're never going to be able to raise that much money, or we'll never have that. But again, understand it's a tool to use. And so kind of like eating an elephant, not all at one time, one bite at a time. Take one room, take one building, or maybe take carpeting. Maybe this month you're going to take carpeting, and next month you're going to do air conditioners, and 2 months from then you're going to do parking lots. So again, lots of things you can do with it. Break it down into some small pieces, and you can get there. But understand it can be daunting, but it doesn't need to be. So again, here's a lot of the basics. If you have a question, if you get into something you don't understand the calculations, my contact information is probably anywhere you can find it. Seacoast Church, you're welcome to give me a call or send me an email. I'll be more than happy to help any way I can to kind of help walk through this so you can see what you can do and to kind of take it to the next step and tackle it from there.